Hi, my name is Sláine Ní Chathalláin and today I'm in the heart of Ventry village around 7 or 8 miles west of Dingle. And today I'm going to try and walk Sláine Ní Chathalláin, but I'm not going to do it alone. I'll have the help of a local historian, Tomás Ó Lúing, who's ready to meet me down at the beach.
We're here at Ventry Beach, Sláine Oratory in Irish, and we'll start the pilgrims walk shortly. But before we start, it's important to have the right gear, rain gear. Today is fine, maybe a bottle of water and food as well. The whole pilgrim's path is about 18 kilometres.
And is it difficult?
Not really, no. It's pretty level, and there's no mountain trek or anything like that. But before we leave Traig or Ventry Beach, the Christians adopted this pilgrimage from a pagan ritual that would have happened here years and years before that, centuries before that, where people would have come in by boat as well and travelled all the way to Mount Brandon to thank the good pagan god Lu. And this would have been in festival time in August, the start of August or late July, where the crops would have ripened, and there would be plenty of food. They would have a huge festival at the summit of Mount Brandon, where they would arrange marriages, settle arguments, and such like. And another interesting thing that happened here as well was there was a mythical battle here between Dara Down, the king of the world, who came to invade Ireland, and Ireland was defended by the Fionn McCool and the Fianna. And this battle happened here, where Fionn had heard the 7 years previous, imagine, that this guy was going to come with the King of France as well, maybe the King of Norway. And this is a great story. There's magical names. The King of Norway was known as Cashel Clúvach, imagine. And the French guy was known as Volcan. And they came in here, but he sent a sentry up behind us here at Scrogall, and the man by the name of Count Cricket. And the poor guy, he fell asleep. And when he woke up, he saw this harbour was full of boats. And they said that you could walk from one headland to the other side of the harbour, from boat to boat. There were so many boats without getting your feet wet.
Well, will we begin?
We will, indeed.
We are now at Gallaras Oratory, probably the most well-known monument on the peninsula. And this is the most perfect example of this type of oratory in Ireland. There's another few of them around the area, but the roofs have caved in. But this is a perfect example of them. There's one or two of them off the coast of Ireland in Skellar as well, to the southwest of us here. But the structure is built using no mortar whatsoever, in what is known as dry stoning corbelling, layering the stones in a parabolic shape up to the ridge. These were master craftsmen, because while there was a huge amount of circular or beehive huts in this area, it would have been easier to build a circular corbel beehive than the rectangular structure here. And it's a tribute to the people who built it, because it has been here since, I suppose, from any time between the 8th and 12th century.
And do we have any idea who built it?
I suppose it would have been these monks who would have travelled here, possibly from the Ventry side of Sláine Ní Chathalláin, the Pilgrims Pass, and then up along to Maolcheadair, where we will be going shortly, and right up to the summit of Mount Brandon. Now, possibly people would have stayed here overnight, and that is the meaning of Gallaras, the house of the stranger. Possibly it could have been the first B&B in this area. We will head off now, Sláine, up to Maolcheadair. Before we go into the church, there are a few monuments worth mentioning here. This, for instance, is a very interesting old stone Sláine, with what they say is a prayer for the soul of Maile is inscribed on it.
Did you know that the Ogham script represents the earliest form of writing in the Irish language? These stones were constructed in earlier Christian times, and as a matter of fact, this peninsula is home to 1/6 of all Ogham stones in the country. Now, Sláine, nobody knows why there's a hole at the top, but folklore tells us that if someone puts their wedding finger in from one side and the other person from the opposite side, a match was made. I don't know if you noticed it as we came over the wall, Sláine, but there's what is thought to be a sundial, which is elegantly designed. We don't know much about this, but it was possibly constructed in the 12th century. Now, Sláine, we'll move on into the church. Here in the nave of Cill Maolcheadair Church, Sláine, which was built in the 12th century in the Romanesque style. This church is dedicated to Saint Maolcheadair, Sláine. He died in 636, but he originally had a church here which was called the Oak Houses. The architecture is actually modelled on St. Cormac's Church in Cashel in County Tipperary, and which was the headquarters of the Christian Church in Munster at the time. Some of the architecture, Sláine, is of local tradition, like the ornament at the top of the gable here, and again at the sanctuary part. Actually, the sanctuary part was added on at a later date. And over the front entrance, Sláine, there is unusually a tympanum, with the head of an animal at the centre of it. And this exact same feature is in St. Cormac's Church as well. And look at the wonderful decoration here, Sláine, on the archway, and the intricate carvings in the stone, again done in the Romanesque style. And these beautiful flowers inside the diamond, going all the way around on both sides. Right around here, there's the blind columns, and right behind you, because this place was a seat of learning, there's the alphabet stone, and the Latin alphabet, A, B, C, is on one side, and it was originally an Ogham stone, or a cloch Ogham in Irish. Up here, as we go along, there's the eye of the needle, the window and the gable, and local tradition has it that if you go through the eye of the needle, eternity will be yours. So we'll carry on, Sláine. So, Sláine, we're here at the end of the Sláine Ní Chathalláin, or the Pilgrim's Path. Did you enjoy it?
I did, Tommy. It was very, very interesting and historical, and good for a bit of fitness as well.
Yeah, indeed. Now we are at the base of Mount Brandon, which is about 3,000 feet high, or 1,000 metres, second highest mountain in Ireland. And in folklore, Brendan would have prayed at the summit of Mount Brandon. The Pilgrim's Path would have carried on to Mount Brandon as well, but he would have especially prayed and looked out towards the sea here, because he was a great seafarer and he was called Brendan the Navigator. And in the Middle Ages, a book turned up in Europe called the Navigatio, written in Latin.
By Brendan.
By Brendan, and he describes how he visited strange lands, probably Iceland, where he saw balls of fire, probably from the volcano, which had erupted there a couple of years ago as well. And onto Greenland, where he describes mountains of crystal, huge crystal pillars, and they're probably icebergs. And onto probably the coast of America. He describes as well seeing huge types of fish, which are probably whales. And he would have travelled for 7 years, and he came back and wrote all about it in the Navigatio. Brendan himself wasn't from this area, but he's reputed to have left a little cove called Brendan Creek, just north of us here, and the trip was recreated in the late 70s of the last century by a guy from England, and it adds to the story. He would have been known as the Saint of the Sea, or Naomh na Mara in Gaelic or Irish, And it is appropriate, I suppose, that the Pilgrim's Path, or Sláine Ní Chathalláin, is dedicated to him, because it starts at Ventry, where we were, 11 miles away, and it finishes here looking out towards the sea again.
So he constructed it very well then?
Or the Pilgrim's Path would have been constructed by people who would have come and joined the pilgrimage.
I suppose as well, the Gallaras or Gallaras Oratory has the shape of an upturned boat when you think
so there's a link.
There's a link
them.
again, yeah.
Okay, well Tommy, thank you very much for sharing all your knowledgeable information with us today, and I learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else will. So
Yeah, so we
if you want more information about this walk, Sláine Ní Chathalláin, you can get in touch with Corchaman Ferberha Corcarina in Ballybrack. So from me, Sláine Ní Chathalláin, bye for now, and hopefully I'll see you all again on Sláine Ní Chathalláin.